my HeartNet, and this is my channel where I talk about my ayahuasca journey and my story. And you know, it's been postponed a little bit. I wanted to post this a few days ago, but now is a perfect time for me to do it. So I hope you guys enjoy it, and let's get into it. I also want to talk about how this may be a trigger warning for some people. So I want to let you know right beforehand there might be some experiences that I've been through, some things that I've taken that may give you a reaction, and I want to let you know beforehand, before continuing this video, that I'm going to go into those things, and if you are aware of your sensitivity to it, then I recommend you guys not watch this or postpone watching something like this until you're ready. Currently, I want to talk about how I see things now. When it comes to what I've encountered in my past and the experiences I've had with people, I always know that it is through patterns and systems. And with that knowledge, when I'm reflecting on something, just know that it is through my perspective in the past and then how I developed what I see now. Okay, so when I first started to get interested in plant medicine, I remember that I was fairly young. I was about 15 years old, and it was something that I became interested in through documentaries and encounters. I remember meeting this one family when I was with my grandmother, and they used to teach me how to hunt, and we would talk about different stories of their experiences, and they would talk about the plant medicine that they would use sometimes in these spiritual ceremonies. They were related to the Native Americans, and I forgot which Native Americans they were related to, but they would use some plant medicines in their ceremonies, and also tobacco, and which is actually very interesting because fast forward in this video, you will see that we actually use a form of tobacco in the plant medicine ceremony that I was in. So that is notable. My interest was set in stone, and after that it kind of went to the back burner when I started to get inside of the adult world, and I started to get a place and get a car and had those responsibilities. But it also freed me up to do things that I really liked. So I started to get into fitness, and I started to take on more jobs and getting into dating and having new friendships. So all those things were happening. I really wanted to go to college, but I ended up not taking that route. And I ended up doing some face painting, which required me to travel a lot. So around 21 and 22, I got into a serious relationship, and that's when I got introduced into plant medicine. I got interested in a part of myself that I didn't know I had, which was very curious and introspective, and those things weren't integrated into my life yet. And so I was on the search for that in my everyday life. So I knew I wouldn't want to go deeper into it, but I knew that I wasn't prepared for it just yet. So I ended up taking a break from it until a few years later when I was ready to go a little bit deeper. But in the meantime, I did do a lot of different types of jobs. I would do food. I would work at nighttime in the clubs. Then I would do different work in stocking or whatever. I would do anything and everything, and those things helped me just be involved with a lot of people, how to work with people, and I think that I ended up meeting so many really kind and um, beautiful people along the path. At the same time, I had this way about me where I just wouldn't really get involved with people that much. I felt like I was still in survival mode, and I couldn't really get involved with them that much because I had so much more to do, and that was really heartbreaking throughout my life as an adult. I always wanted to be around people and experience those in a more relaxed setting, but I had not that option as I thought. I didn't have that option. Of course, there was always an option to do it, but I chose not to, just because of my mindset at the time. So I ended up going into the backcountry program, the CCC, the California Conservation Corps, and I did trail maintenance for 6 months during that 2020 to 2021. And I remember doing this program, having a spiritual experience just on the day-to-day. I did very hard work, and then I had a huge experience near the end of the program where I had an out-of-body experience. I got outside my body and I told myself, oh, little by little, hey, close your eyes and get back inside your body, close your eyes and get back into my body. And when I did that, I was like, what made me guide myself to do that? How did I know to do that? So after the program, I ended up having a really strong discipline, and whenever I would travel, I would do festivals, I would listen to these near-death experiences. So I had a lot of downtime when I was traveling, and I would listen to a lot of different people's stories, and it was very helpful with getting to know how people experience the afterlife, but also coming back to their human body. I also learned a lot for my personal life and professional life. For my professional life, I apprenticed under a millionaire, and she taught me so much, while also giving me a lot of challenges. And at the end of getting to know this woman, I saw a lot of things that could happen if I don't make the right decisions with how I regulate my emotions, how I treat people, and then also a shift in my own mindset about how I relate to money, and to other people in the business. And then I remember for a while I did clean a lot of houses and different businesses, and when I did that, there was a therapy office that I did go into, and I ended up looking on the shelves of these therapist offices, and I saw a lot of books I was interested in. I ended up looking up all these books and paying for the ones that I really liked, and so I started to read a little bit on them, and then ended up taking a few therapy sessions for myself, and it was really cool for me. I ended up getting into yoga a little bit more, and then once I did that, everything really shifted for me because I was actually finally connecting to my body in a way where I can notice how I'm feeling and make sense of it in my mind. Once I got comfortable with doing my face painting, I ended up going into henna and then doing a lot of mural work and window painting on my own. And with that work, it freed up some of my time. I was able to work on my collection, which had to do with inner child work, and which ties into John Bradshaw's work, where you're talking to your inner child. It's kind of similar to parts work and Jungian shadow work. So it's really cool what John Bradshaw had brought to the table when it came to talking to your inner child, and how a lot of people use it in the language around me a lot. They understand it, they know it, and even though they might not know John Bradshaw, they use it in their language. And so it's really cool to see that ripple effect that someone could have with language, with their own work. And I knew that this was something that I wanted to be a part of, because I felt like it was so impactful to talk to your inner child, to mother it, and make sure that yourself feels okay. And I thought that a lot of people also value that too, and it would connect me to the people who value that. So I ended up connecting to a lot of people who were into that, and then I ended up doing a lot of work with people who had passed in their life. So I would do commissions like that, and then I would do like family memories and things of that nature. And so I was able to find my tribe by doing this one project that I set out to do. And from that had been a snowball effect of meeting a lot of different people. But after I did those things, I did see how clearly it was that I had to be in this space, because reflecting back on the jobs that I did do, I did have a lot of threats of violence and actual violence come to me in my experience, and I didn't know how to verbally or physically protect myself. It wasn't really in my pattern of behavior. And so I had a lot of experiences with people who could sense that inside of me, and would take advantage of that part of me. And so that was really tough for me. For years, it was really tough for me, because I didn't know anything about that part of my awareness, and I felt helpless in those situations. So me getting triggered in those situations would be me freezing up, and then me not reacting to the situation and completely ignoring a situation like that. So I would just walk away, or I would act like nothing happened, and those things went away, but at the same time it was still within me. So I had to face at some time that impact on my experience, my cowardice that I had, and my feelings of inferiority, of shame. All these things I thought I deserved to happen to me, only because they happened to me when I was younger. And the people around me, that happened to them. So it was a cycle of abuse that people had experienced. And so with that cycle of abuse, it keeps on going unless it's being addressed. And I didn't address it until I started doing the yoga. Then I got into Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and when I would start rolling with people, I felt very good, because after a while I ended up realizing that I can protect myself. If I get into that situation again, I know where my limit is. Um, and I know if I have to take it to that level, if I'm willing to do it, I can do it, because I put myself in a situation before it even happens. So I'm no longer afraid of that situation. And that is very empowering for me. Um, Learning how to speak up for myself has always been really tough for me when I was younger, and then eventually getting a handle on that as I interact with people in my adulthood had been life-changing for me. And so now when I interact with people, it is just, it's beautiful. I feel like people can understand me. I get my point across, and if there is a misunderstanding, I have an awareness of where things had missed the mark. So I feel pretty good about where I've came so far from experiencing those abuses. So getting into the plant medicine ceremony, how I prepared for it, I want to start talking about my relationship with Dawn Brunson, who owns Holistic Health and Wellness. So Dawn owns a metaphysical shop. I did some work with her about 5 years ago for a mural, and after I did that mural, we worked a lot together. I did so many paint and sips in her shop. And then throughout that time, I saw that she did these plant medicine ceremonies with people. She would do a retreat with people. So she would do this often where she would advertise for it. People would pay for the retreat, and it would be, everything would be included: the food, the place to stay, and the experience. And so I always thought that I wanted something to do with that experience, but it wasn't in the cards for me at the time. I was still trying to get a footing on providing for myself. So when I finally got to a point where I could do the retreat, I ended up doing it with her. But before that, I did a plant medicine ceremony with psilocybin mushrooms with her, and that was really nice. I got to know where I was at in my relationship at the time, and then eventually breaking off of that relationship and going into a new state. So I just had a little bit more information about who I am and what I want to do with my life, and had like a clearer direction. And so when I moved to Texas, she reminded me, do you want to go to Cancun to do this plant medicine ceremony? And I was like, you know what? I think I want to do it for my birthday. And so when I ended up getting that call from her, I was like, okay, I'm gonna do this. She sent me the itinerary, and that's when she notified me that I should limit my what I watch, and then what I eat. And that's what I did. But also I limited who I spoke to, and also meditated a lot before getting into that experience. But before we go into that plant medicine ceremony, we do a lot of work while we're there. So if you're interested in something like that, just know that a lot of times people prepare you before you go into the ceremony, which is very helpful. It really was helpful that I wasn't on any medications, because you do have to detox from medications if you plan to do something like this. And then you also have to be aware of any like mental health issues from your family, because if you have any like schizophrenia in your family, it can be very detrimental to do these plant medicines, because you may not be able to turn off like hallucinations. So I didn't have schizophrenia in my background. There are people who have some mental illness in my family, but that wasn't the particular one, and I felt that I did a lot of work before, and I've done plant medicines before, so I've led a little bit up to this, and I've addressed a lot of things before I even went into it. So I knew if I was going into this, then I would get a lot of insight of what I really wanted to do. So I ended up going, and when we went, there was a vegan restaurant we used to go to, and it was so freaking good. I loved everything on the menu. Every time I ordered something, it was just so nice. And it was very light because it was vegan. And then we went into something very special, which is called a Temazcal. And a Temazcal is a traditional Mayan ceremony. And one thing I learned is that the Mayans were a blanket peoples that settlers would say to the native people of Central America. So even though that there was Mayans in Mexico, the Mayans in, say, Honduras would be different in their practices. So the Temazcal is something that's pretty known Mayan practice in Mexico. So it's just something that the native people do there, but I felt a connection to it because my mother's side of the family has family from Belize, and the Belizean culture has Mayan native people there, and I have some of that blood inside of me. So I end up really liking that experience. It connects you with all the elements, wind, fire, air, water, and earth. And so when we go into a cave, they smother these rocks in the fire. And when they do that, it holds a lot of heat. And then they bring those boulders inside of the cave, and it's kind of like a sauna experience where they're pouring water over these hot rocks, and then they do a lot of mantras, and they do a lot of singing, and we had participated in all of those things. And the lady who described the experience, I'm actually going to show her a little bit in this video.
Ancestral tradition. It's the way our ancestors get healthy. Is to depurate the body, but not just the body, to depurate our thoughts, our feelings, our passions. They say that we have 3 souls. This one in Nahua culture is in the center of Mexico. We born over there, and our ancestors say that in Nahua language, the name is Tonali, and the Tonali is like the thoughts, like the reasons, the knowledge. So when you have a thought that every time you hear, every time you can feel okay with that thought, you get sick. The same in this soul. This soul, the name is Teyolia in Nahua language, and it's like feelings. when you have some feeling that you can express, you can communicate, you get sick. The same, this soul, the name is Ikiyo in Nahuatl, is like your passions. When you want to do something, and for something you can do, and get frustration, so you sick. And the way you sick is in your body, your soul, your mind, your spirit. So the medicine, the traditional medicine, the intention is equilibrate, harmony, healthy, these results for harmony, for congruence. It sounds easy, but it really is, it's very difficult to equilibrate every time. So that's why this medicine is constant. They use frequently. A bath, it's a hot bath with natural stones. Just use the elements to get the water, fire, wind. It's okay. Wind, land, earth, with the stones, the fire, and with the plants, make a tea, and the tea put in the stone inside, and represents when we enter into Temazcal, represents enter our mother land, our mother womb. And it's like a portal, because in different cultures around the world, but here in Mexico, all the cultures talk about dimensions, about in our culture say three dimensions: under, land, and over. There are 9 levels to under and 13 up.
Okay.
And we are here, but we are connection with everything. We are in everything, and everything is inside of us. So that's the word ometeo. We use that's the meaning, the duality in everything. Like woman, man, day, night, everything duality. And the duality represents that we are in everything, and everything inside of it. So we say ometeo when we enter Temazcal, when we go out, when we take the walk and we want to talk, we say ometeo, because we invoke that union, that duality, that energy. In other cultures, like a god or different names, but in our culture, it's like with the nature, with everything, everything inside of me. That's the omite, and represents to connect with the elements inside of YouTube, because all the elements, we are the elements.
We are the elements,
exactly.
Yes.
Our body represents the land, the earth, our body. Our breath, the wine, our blood, the water, our water, and the fire is in our heart. So that's the intention. We remember, we reconnect with the elements, and all outside is the same inside. So that's why it's important. Every element before we how you to say, like pedir permiso, like we talk with the fire, we talk with the water, we talk with every element we use for this medicine. Before we talk with the elements to say, please give us the message we need
Mm.
in this moment. Please get healthy our souls.
Mhm.
Please remember us. Who am I? Who are you? Are you?
Mhm.
Why we are here? It's so spiritual. And it's, well, I'm so happy to share this medicine
We're
with
happy
you.
to be here.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Because
So as you can see that she was so knowledgeable about her own culture, and how she articulates it is so beautiful, because she said that it's really hard for her to explain in English, but she just was so clear in her explanations. She didn't even have to say that. I understood her clear what she meant. And so when we did experience what we did, there was no fear. We all enjoyed it. And by the end of the night, we were so tired and ready to experience the ceremony. So the next day, we ended up going into a cenote, which is traditionally what you go into before you go into the plant medicine ceremony. And when we went into the cenote, we had we felt like this is only so far we can go into the cave, because there were so many bats. And so there wasn't a lot of experience there. It was only like 10-15 minutes, but I was glad to experience it. I would have gone probably deeper if the group that I was with wanted to do that, but they didn't want to do that. So I just wanted everyone to feel comfortable with their limits. So once we left that, the instruments were displayed. And a lot of them were Peruvian instruments, healing instruments, but there was also like a gong and a Tibetan singing bowl. There was also lots of African instruments, healing instruments too, drums, and it just was a great setup. It's what I expected for something like this. So everything was laid out. There was blankets everywhere, pillows, and then there was a bucket for if we needed to throw up. That does happen during these ceremonies, so just if you are interested in doing it, expect something like that to happen. And beforehand, our shaman did explain everything to us about how the ceremony would go, what we were going to get into, and if we needed guidance or help, he was willing to help. And so because I was very entrusting with Dawn, I entrusted this man. And so once I got into it, he explained that we're going to take hepe, which is a tobacco. It's like a very strong tobacco that you snuff up your nose, and that is pure tobacco. And it does calm you down, but it is very spicy when it goes up your nose. So it's not something that I wanted to do, but I ended up still doing it. I experienced it prior doing the mushroom ceremony. So I knew what it was gonna feel like, and I didn't want to feel it again, but I ended up doing it still, and it did relax me a little bit, but I was a little bit on edge because I didn't, once you're in a ceremony like that, you're just like, oh, I'm really gonna do it. And so once I was like, okay, I'm doing it, then I relaxed. And then he started to give us the actual ayahuasca, which is like a brew. It's very thick and it's disgusting, but it's not a lot. Like, he gave us it in doses. So he said he was going to give us it in 3 doses. And when we did the first dose, then he started to play his instruments. And when he started to play his instruments, that's when I started to really dance and get connected with dancing. And I started to see that that was something that I really enjoyed doing. And I wanted to get more into that at some point in my life. And after I finish probably out this year, maybe get into that and see where that takes me. But yeah, I really enjoyed dancing while I was doing that ceremony. And I did it until I passed out. And once I passed out, that's when I saw a lot of geometric shapes. And then I connected with my family during that time. And it was actually more of the energy of my father's family on my father's side. And it was an encouragement that I felt from that side, and a love, and that was really cool. And then it was like expanded to a bigger family of people who just it wasn't physical people that I saw. It was just geometric shapes, but it felt like a presence of familiarity. I can't really explain it in such a detail because it's unexplainable. It's just what I was hallucinating. So the geometric shapes had a presence, and those presence, it felt like eyes, like it sees me, but it wasn't eyes. It just was shapes. And so after I experienced that, those presences were telling me, hey, let go of this person, which was me. Let go of Maya, let go of Maya. And then I would close my eyes and I would let it go, and then they would be like, open your eyes. So I would open my eyes and I would be back inside of myself, and then I would close my eyes, and I would experience like it wasn't me anymore. My body, I didn't even feel my body. And then I opened my eyes and I was there again. So I think part of that wisdom was that I wasn't my body. It's only a temporary experience, and it's up to me to make the most of this or not. And so I started to see, okay, this is a choice. And I started to see, they were like, well, you could stay here, or you can stay with Maya. And I ended up staying with myself. And so when I stayed here, I didn't experience anything else. I took the other doses, but I didn't have such vivid hallucinations. And so after doing those things, I eventually fell asleep after the ceremony, and it was a great sleep. But the next day I had such a headache, and recovering was nice because the next day we went into a resort hotel, and we got to go on the beach and we got to eat, and then we wrapped it up. So after the fact of the ceremony, I feel like a new sense of strength and willingness to live my life and to take on whatever challenges I have. That it's just wisdom that's given to me, but at the end of the day, it's up to me to really go for these things that I want to do. One thing that I really appreciated about this plant medicine ceremony is that I am not the things that I do, are people that I've been around, are the experiences that I had. I am forever changing. So if I want to do something and I want to see it to the end, I can do that. But if I have no more love for it anymore and I want to go for something else, then I will do that and probably seek a deeper love there, and that I'm not tied to any particular thing. And so even though I'm an artist right now, I do have a little bit of a detachment from this title, and also the experiences that I do have as an artist. I know that this isn't who I am, and at the foundation, I am someone who is forever changing, forever growing. I'm the one who is observing all these things, and I'm the one who goes for these things, but I'm not the one who are these things. So I think that's the biggest lesson I got from that, and I'm so grateful for it. If this is very helpful for you, please let me know. I would love to hear your experience if you ever had it. But if you have any questions, you can always reach out to me on any of my social media. It's always going to be at Maya Hartnett. And then you can also reach me at my email in the description below. And yeah, thank you very much for listening, and hope you have a great day.